There is some distinction, but the way you're asking the question, you need to read the book whole again, because what you're asking is, or what you're stating is, something very specific about different plants, as well as something very specific about different nutrients, whether it's protein or antioxidants, whatever. If and this is what makes the whole idea really easy. If you're eating plants, only plants, they're loaded with antioxidants. That keeps things under control. They got the right level of protein. That keeps them under control. The right level of complex carbohydrates and fat and all the rest. It all just kind of, one thing controls another. And so although you may see some differences in certain antioxidants in one kind of plant food compared to another, in reality, when you're eating a meal, different kinds of plants, it all balances out. That's really what the point is. And let me give you just an example of why this is so significant. If I take a whole, and we've done this now, if I take a whole food plant-based diet, and since you read the China study, you'll know this is true with the heart disease. If you take people with heart disease, even in advanced stages, and you put them on a whole food plant-based diet, as I'm describing it, you actually cure heart disease. It goes away forever. It's gone. There's nothing, and in paleo diet and that sort of nonsense, quite frankly, there's no way that kind of diet can actually cure heart disease. It makes it worse, not better. That's a really very important point. And with at least experimentally, we see the same thing with cancer. With diabetes, we see the same thing again. We can resolve type 2 diabetes. And those of us in the trade, we call it a chip shot. We can get rid of type 2 diabetes within a week for most people, get them off their medications. And so this whole food plant-based diet has such a dramatic effect if people really are willing to open their minds and give it a shot, give it a try, and they'll see for themselves what happens.
Are there inter-individual differences between how people would respond to plant-based diets versus maybe you can consider even a paleo diet plant-based? That's why it's a little it could be a little murky. But the diets that you advocate, could there be individual differences between the diet you advocate and maybe a paleo diet? Maybe some people do better with a paleo diet because perhaps they're predisposed to autoimmune disease, and we know there's an autoimmune cancer trade-off. So people who are more at risk for cancer, lower risk for autoimmune disease in some ways. I'm curious if you think that there's a portion of the population that might do better with more animal foods, or it's everybody will do better with more plant-based foods.
Well, first off, your question is very good when you ask about individual differences, and we do have differences, obviously. But the differences are as follows. We differ in the degree of the response. That is to say, if you take a bunch of different people, all having various and sundry susceptibilities or disease conditions, and you put them on a plant-based diet, virtually everyone, this is our experience, everyone responds in a favorable direction. Some people, they respond so far, it means saving their life. Other people, they may not respond quite as much, but they all go in the same direction. In other words, things tend to improve. For some of us, it improves a lot. As I say, it's life-saving. Other people, it's just feeling better, and cholesterol dropping and things like this. So that's what we mean by individual differences. It does not mean like, okay, this group over here are going to respond to a whole food plant-based diet properly, and another group over here is going to be paleo. No, there's no evidence for that. In the short term, yes. People will think that they have seen a difference. Let's say they tried a vegan diet, to use your word. They tried a vegan diet, they didn't do so well, so okay, we're going to try a paleo diet, and it felt better. Let's say that happens. Yeah. Yes, that kind of thing, some people have reported on that, and although we don't have the complete answers to it yet, what they're looking at is short-term benefits, first off. And the second thing, if they don't use the whole food plant-based diet long enough to actually allow their body to accommodate to that, then they're not really, it's not a fair comparison.
How long is long enough?
At least a month.